I think something a lot of people might not realize is actually not only were you part of the very first Monday Night Raw in 1993, but you are actually the very first voice anyone ever hears of Monday Night Raw. It all begins with Sean Mooney. And here you are. Well, here we are 35 years later almost, and Raw is this giant
Hmm.
of sports entertainment now worth
Yeah.
$5 billion.
I knew.
And now in 80% of the world's homes.
Yeah.
What was that? That's such a special that first night, that Monday Night Raw, Manhattan Center. Obviously, you outside, Bobby the Brain
Hmm.
Heenan trying via various guises to get
Yeah.
into the building. What was that first night like? And also,
Um,
how was Raw pitched to you? Because it was such a different thing, wasn't it? For WWF, which, as
oh,
you say, was all
absolutely.
about 4 months earlier, had sold out Wembley Stadium, was all about
Yeah.
how Vince McMahon was, how big can we go? Suddenly goes to this tiny kind of arty Manhattan Center, really intimate, beautiful setting with a couple of hundred fans.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome to be the answer to a trivia question. People, that's what I always hear. Who is the first person to appear on Raw? And that's pretty cool. Back then, I was just doing my job, and I remember that night that I wasn't so excited about being out front and doing that first thing. I was more excited. I was going to work with Bobby, and then what they had in mind, I thought was just going to be hilarious. And because Bobby was going to be in all those different costumes. The premise was that he'd been banned; he wasn't allowed to come to the building, and he was going to figure out one way or the other to get his ass in there. And of course, he came, as the old lady, Rob Bartlett's aunt, and the Hasid Jew with the hat on, it was just. And I didn't even really know. I had no idea what he was going to do, but I'd worked with Bobby enough to know how to roll with him. And so that night just stands out to me for just those little vignette things we did, those little hits we got to do. And the very end of it is when it show's over, and there's like, let him in, and then it's over. He goes in there, but the people want to ask me all the time, did you know it was going to be what it would turn into? Of course, honestly, no, I didn't. I thought it was a great idea. I thought because, Primetime had run its course. We'd done many different, two other versions of it. And they were looking to do something that was going to get people's attention. The Manhattan Center was a perfect place to do it because it was this intimate little arena, but it was more of a theater because those seats were right up over the ring, and so you got that feeling that people were right there. So it gave them a whole different new feel to it. There was a different electricity to it than being in an arena. That really is what stands out to me. But you didn't know back then, what was going to happen with it, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, of course, suddenly decades had gone by, and we were celebrating thousandth episode, and then 25 years, and now it's still going. So
Crazy.
I'm sure at the time that even Vince had no idea what was going to happen. It was going to get become as big as it became, but like everything else, there's more than one story just besides Raw of things that the WWE developed and have become lore in the history of professional wrestling. Vince is responsible for all of that, and so it's Hulk Hogan, who, if those two people wouldn't have existed and somehow collided together, we wouldn't be having the conversation we're having right now. So it all started there, but everything evolves. And now Vince isn't part of it anymore. Now, who I would have never thought. I thought that when he decided that he was going to retire, whatever was going to happen, that would be it. It might keep going for a little while, but without him, it couldn't be sustained. But Endeavor didn't become a gigantic entertainment conglomerate for no reason, without knowing how entertainment works. And now they're doing better than ever. The stock has never been higher. So who knows what's next? Now we know it's changed. It's gonna continue to change, but the personalities are very different than the people that were stepping into the ring in the 80s and 90s and beyond that. It's a whole different world now. But it's like anything else. If people like what you're entertaining them with, they will keep coming back, and people keep coming back.